I was in my 30s, and I didn't drink. I moved to a neighborhood out within the island, wherein that they had events each Saturday, and I commenced to drink with them before I knew it. I'd become hung up on these items. I couldn't believe it. Say he turned into smoking. For years. Dick Van Dyke turned into born on December 13th, 1925, in West Plains, Missouri. It was a small city with only a few thousand people, and his childhood seemed easy. His mother, Hazel, labored as a typist, and his father, Lauren, offered cookies for a corporation. They lived in regular existence, however, nobody could have guessed that Dick would sooner or later come to be a famous dot. The city itself was small, but it had a stunning records entertainer of producing stars like Porter Wagoner and Jan Howard. It's funny to assume that the year Dick become born, Charlie Chaplin's The Gold Rush came out, a movie complete of the kind of comedy Dick might later come to be well known for. When Dick become nevertheless an infant, his family moved to Danville, Illinois. Danville turned into a larger metropolis with about 300 human beings. Dick stated it felt like most of the city become made up of his loved ones because anybody knew each other. It was the 30s in the course of the Great Depression, and cash was tight for nearly everybody. Dick's circle of relatives couldn't find the money for a radio, so they went to a neighbor's house to concentrate to famous indicates. Sparked his love for entertainment. Danville additionally became out to be a unique area for skills. Some of Dick's classmates, like Donald O'Connor from Singin' Within the Rain and singer Bobby Short, also have become stars. In high college, Dick thought he would possibly end up a minister. However, the whole thing changed whilst he joined the drama membership. He observed he loved singing and dancing, and he became good at it. Back then, due to World War II, schools needed to write their own plays and musicals on the grounds that they couldn't manage to pay to buy rights to well-known indicates. The first-rate roles due to the fact he was tall and had a sturdy voice. Even although the productions were not fancy, they gave him a taste of performing. Many years later, in 2004, he returned to his antique excessive school to get his diploma, and even done in Bye Birdie with the scholars. It suggests how lots the once years intended to him. In 1944, whilst he become nonetheless in high faculty, Dick determined to sign up for American Army Air Forces. He wanted to be a pilot all through World War II, but there has been a problem. He changed into too skinny. At 6 feet 1 inch and simplest 135 pounds, meet the burden requirement. He did not give up. He ate bananas and drank water till he finally weighed sufficient to pass. Once he joined, he realized flying planes wasn't for him. Instead, he got transferred to a special unit, wherein he entertained troops. He painted units, acted in suggests, or even worked as a radio announcer. Dick later joked that being terrified of flying is what driven him into show enterprise. He served till 1946, and those years helped him find out his love for acting. He got his first job as a radio DJ at WDAN, a small station in Danville. He had no experience, however he walked into the station, asked for an audition, and were given employed right away. He hosted the morning show from 7 a.m. to midday, and fast had become a favorite. He had a herbal talent for making people snicker and might create funny characters and voices all through his declares. One of his most popular segments turned into known as Man at the Street, wherein he interviewed nearby people in a playful, joking way. In 1948, he performed a massive prank by convincing everyone in town that a UFO had landed. It brought about so much chaos that the police were given flooded with calls. He almost were given fired, however, instead it made him even greater famous in Danville. Later that year, Van Dyke met Phil Erickson, a performer who specialized in pantomime. Erickson appreciated Van Dyke's humor and recommended they crew up as a comedy duo. They called themselves Eric and Van, the Merry Mutes. Their act became very one-of-a-kind from whatever human beings had seen before. They executed silent workouts, lip-syncing to antique songs at the same time as performing out funny situations. One in their maximum popular acts become pretending to be an opera singer and a pissed-off conductor, switching roles to make the target audience laugh. From 1947 to 1953, the Merry Mutes toured non-stop, performing in clubs on the West Coast. They worked fairly hard, sometimes doing 5 indicates each night time of the week. In 1950, they achieved 35 shows in a single week in Los Angeles, a brand new report. Their massive destroy got here in 1951, when they were given their personal TV display, referred to as The Merry Mute Show on WSB-TV in Atlanta. This helped them get noticed nationally, and that they even achieved at the Ed Sullivan Show in 1952. Their act, like the sluggish movement soccer routine, made them popular throughout the country. But in 1953, Erickson decided to stop show enterprise, and the partnership ended. Van Dyke Television in 1955, he had become the host of the CBS morning show. He introduced his humor and creativity to the system, working along a puppeteer named Bill Baird to give you funny skits and characters. In 1956, he tried web hosting a sports show called To Tell a Lie. However, it simply lasted for 13 episodes. Still, it gave him extra experience in stay television. Van Dyke's appearing talent commenced to shine in 1957, while he appeared at the Phil Silvers Show. He, very exceptional characters in separate episodes, a hillbilly baseball player and a rustic cousin. Audiences cherished him, and the show's writer even concept approximately giving Van Dyke his very own spin-off, though it never passed off. In 1959, Van Dyke were given a risk to perform on Broadway in a musical called The Girls Against the Boys. The show failed to last lengthy. It closed after just 16 performances, but Van Dyke stood out. One of his pleasant moments turned into a track called The Telephone Song, where he acted out both aspects of a phone call while dancing around a smartphone booth. This performance got him observed through critics and producers. He even gained a Theater World Award for being a promising newcomer. More importantly, it brought about his subsequent massive role within the musical Bye Birdie, which could alternate his lifestyles. Dick Van Dyke's life modified for all time in 1961, while he became picked to play Rob Petrie in the Dick Van Dyke display. At first, this function wasn't even supposed for him. The show's creator, Carl Reiner, wrote the individual primarily based on his personal existence, Rob himself. But a manufacturer named Sheldon Leonard notioned Dick Van Dyke become ideal for the position, particularly after seeing him carry out on Broadway in Bye Birdie. Dick even beat Johnny Carson, who become also being taken into consideration for the function. It wasn't an easy selection. Just 18 days earlier than the show became meant to start, CBS executives were nevertheless uncertain. Late one night time, they sooner or later made their choice and picked Dick. He had much less than 3 weeks to get prepared, but that last-minute decision became out to be the high-quality one for anybody. Did not make lots cash. For the primary season, he earned $1,250 for each episode. That's about $11,000 in contemporary money, but because the show had become extra popular, his pay went up a lot. By the very last season, he became making $35,000 consistent with episode. The show had a rocky start, although, at first, it wasn't very popular, and CBS nearly canceled it. But Procter & Gamble, a huge advertiser, stepped in to save it. They advised CBS they could stop buying ads if the display got reduced the show every other chance, and soon it had become a big hit. By the second season, it was one of the pinnacle 10 suggests on TV. One of the first-class elements of the show turned into the chemistry among Dick and Mary Tyler Moore, who performed his spouse Laura. Their connection on screen felt so actual that people loved looking them. There became a large age distinction between them. Dick changed into 36, and Mary became simply 25, while the display commenced. Producers were involved about this before everything, however, it did not count once even said something unexpected. In an interview, she joked, The brilliant component is we by no means had an affair. I always idea it became a horrible waste, even although there could have been some unspoken feelings, they kept things professional and it labored perfectly. The different solid individuals also played a massive position in making the display unique. Maury Amsterdam, who performed Buddy Sorrow, loved the display a lot that he wrote lyrics for the theme track, even though they weren't used. Rose Marie, who performed Sally Rogers, idea she would be the main girl. As Sherry's character became more famous, her position got smaller. This triggered some tension on set, but all and sundry labored tough to make the show a fulfillment.